Back to the show, we're getting into the internal thinking of the Federal Reserve. Minutes of recent meetings shows officials walking a tightrope, cutting rates to ease pressure on a cooling job market, yet still worried about inflation making a comeback. While most members backed the move, the debate over how fast the cuts or how fast to cut is far from over. Here to explain a little bit more on that is our financial guru. He joins us every single Monday right here on the show. He's a friend of the show, I'd like to say. Andrew Poulos, welcome back to the show, man.
Good morning, Chesley.
All right. When the Fed signaled more rate cuts right ahead, what's the very first place the average person could actually feel that change?
Credit cards, auto loans, eventually it'll trickle down into mortgage loans, home equity lines of credit. So certainly getting some rate cuts is going to ease some pressure on most consumers. I think generally speaking, most consumers have some sort of debt. They're going to feel a positive impact from this. The question is, as you've seen from the last Fed meeting and the Fed minutes, how much are we going to see as far as rate cuts the rest of the year? It's interesting because the Fed minutes showed us that certainly they're all in agreement just about on quarter-point cuts, two of them, possibly three. Fed governors are about 50-50 split, divided on if we might even see a more aggressive position with 50 basis points rate cut between now and the end of the year. So it's going to be quite interesting as we go into the holiday season to see what the Fed's going to do and what if their stance amongst all the governors is going to change, or if they're going to basically just slow walk it into quarter-point cuts, 2 to 3 between now and the end of December.
Talk to us about this balancing act between inflation and jobs and how that translates to what people are paying on credit cards and mortgages and auto loans right now. Yeah,
the Fed has a difficult job, right? Because inflation could certainly start creeping up again, which has always been a concern. Meanwhile, the labor market certainly is softening up. We've been seeing that month after month. This month's going to be quite interesting because if this government shutdown continues through the end of October, the Fed may not get, I should say, any labor and economic reports which are due out the last week of October. That basically puts the Fed in a challenging position, trying to work blindly, so to speak, without having any current data to work off of. So it's going to be very interesting to see what kind of a position the Fed takes. But the longer the government shutdown continues, the more negative impact it has on the economy, which again creates a situation for the Fed to cut rates. And the big question is, do they stick to quarter points or do they stick to half points? Based on the labor market, you would think that they might want to get aggressive at a half-point cut at some point. However, based on inflation and those concerns, they might keep it at a quarter-point cut, based on what we're seeing now. But a lot of it's going to depend on what happens in the coming weeks.
Yeah. Andrew, I got 30 seconds here left with you. What's the one number or data point that you'll be watching for most closely before the Fed's next meeting?
Yeah, the labor market, Chesley, without a doubt. If the labor market continues to soften up, jobs, people aren't being hired, and folks are out there struggling to find employment, I think that puts the Fed in a challenging position to make a decision between an aggressive rate cut or a moderate quarter-point cut.
All right, my friend and yours, Andrew Poulos. Thanks so much for the insight, my friend. Have a great day.
See you next week.
All right, take care.